So excited to introduce our panelists today. The idea for this webinar is pretty self-explanatory in MEHKO success stories. So we chose three MEHKOs that not only are successful, but are also all successful in their own way and operate differently. I think one of the things that's really amazing about this permit is that it's not one size fits all, and there's so many different things you can do with it. So we kind of wanted to broadly look at those different like dining in, takeout, and delivery. And so we have three successful members from our community to kind of talk about their businesses and how they operate. So first, let's see, we have our chef, our OG, Chef Benz Martin, who is here with her husband, Justin, who is her business partner. They're like a back of house, front of house. Now, Benz is based in La Quinta, Riverside County, and she got her MEHKO permit back in 2019 and has sold thousands of meals now through online ordering and pickup with authentic Thai food. And then we also have Chef Richard Gomeztrejo, who I've heard does not like to be called a chef, but Richard's MEHKO specializes in pre-order and delivery of wraps, either in individuals or in trays. And he does a ton of business with offices and businesses that are doing pre-order for like a lunch service delivery. So we're really excited to hear more about that. And then last but not least, we have the fabulous Chef Kellie Joe, who is a longtime chef and serial entrepreneur, and the first MEHKO in Contra Costa County, which is awesome. Now, Chef Kellie's specialty is pizza that is not only delicious, but also good for you. And she does takeout, but also has this incredibly spectacular patio in Bodega Bay, where there's a giant koi pond and waterfalls, and she does private dining experiences. So,
Love it.
yeah. And I really want to go someday. But thank you. So thank you so much for all of you for joining. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Now, I gave a little bit of that kind of like the brief bio of each of you, but I want to know more about your business, about your food, and especially like how you got started. So why don't we actually start with you, Chef Kellie, and
Sure.
then we'll go in that reverse order, and then we'll hear from Richard and then Ben's.
Oh, great. Thanks so much, Lauren. And just so happy to be here and happy to be with the other chefs too. Um, my name is Chef Kellie Joe, and I'm based out of the San Francisco Bay Area and been making pizza since 2009. It was a side gig with my wife and I at the farmers markets. And then let's see, COVID came, shut that down. We thought it wasn't safe for us to be outside with all those people, but in actuality, it was safe to be outside with all those people. But we shut that down. We did it for a long time, right? Then created Queen of Crusts, which is everything you need to make pizza at home. So the pizza kits, the dough balls, the crusts, and the take and bake pizzas, fully assembled, freezer friendly. Take out what you want when you want. We offered home delivery, and during COVID, during lockdown, that really worked. And so we continued to do that, and then so worked out of commercial kitchen all this time, all these years. And so people would be able to pick up at the commercial kitchen, or we deliver. And then now with MEHKO, and that it's been one whole year with our MEHKO permit now. And so people can pick up actually at my house. And then we incorporated a dine-in spot. And actually, Lauren, it's not in Bodega Bay yet. It's in Pleasant Hill, California, which is about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. So we've been doing that, and we offer unique dining experiences. It's all about the experience. Yes, it's true. You're sitting aside an 8,000-gallon koi fish pond and waterfalls, and kind of taking you away from your everyday life stresses just for a little bit. We offer a 3-hour experience.
Wow.
and it's an immersive experience that it ignites all your senses.
That's awesome. Okay, and thank you for that. That's good to know. So not Bodega Bay, but that sounds
Yes.
amazing. And thank you. That is so interesting. Like to like opportunity, like take that opportunity and pivot. And congrats. That's great. So Richard, let's hop on over to you. Tell us more about your business, your food, and how you got started.
Well, hello. My name is Richard. My MEHKO business is called Wraps to Go Mistrejo. There's that awkward pause between Go and Mistrejo, but it's a play on my last name. I've been cooking for a long time, and I started the MEHKO. I started the this side hustle during COVID. I was working at a big box store, and I would always get really positive comments on on the food I would bring during lunch. And so I thought, okay, what can I do with this? And so I started making samples of different things, and the response I was getting was fantastic. And so I thought, well, I think I have something here. And so it was my side hustle. All my coworkers, they would order a couple times a month, and I've had 50 coworkers, so it was good to do, and just the response I was getting was just fantastic. So I thought, I think I do really have something special going on. But you're right, I don't like to be called the chef. In fact, my tagline is, "I'm no chef, I make wraps." So I certainly don't have the culinary skills or background that professional chefs, even like Kellie or even Ben's, but I don't. I just have fun with it, and it really is a lot of fun. Um, so I became a MEHKO in 2024 when LA County first rolled it out, and I'm the first MEHKO in the entire San Gabriel Valley. So I love that. I love saying that when I go out and meet people. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoy waking up early, getting my things planned, and I do my pre-orders on Mondays. But before that, I'm pounding the pavements, before lunch, trying to get new accounts. But yeah, doing the pre-orders is good because that way I don't buy too much. I know what to buy. I'm not going to have waste, and that's really important in the food industry. But it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to it all every week. In fact, I just had a ribbon cutting yesterday through my Chamber of Commerce, and that was a really really special event. So my wife was able to make it, and so that was pretty fantastic. Um, and yeah, so that's how things are right now. So it's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And also congrats on being the first in Gabriel Valley. That's so cool. And I love that you did the ribbon cutting. That's great. All
It
right.
was terrific.
That's really fun. So Chef Benz, let's hear your story.
Hi. Hi, you guys. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me, Lawrence, and all Cook Alliance team. My name is Benz Martin, and this is Justin Martin. We're a team of Cooking Thai by Benz, and we located in Riverside County, La Quinta. And we have been doing running MEHKO operations about like 6 years, going to 7 years. So our journey is pretty long run. So, and I love to cook as just, like you guys too. And what we started is just because of love of food and love of care and love of, cooking. So I just found out later I spend probably like about at least 10 hours in the kitchen all the time. But I don't have any problem with it because I love to do and I do what I like to do. So, and then also here in La Quinta, we used to live in LA, in Los Angeles, and we moved here about 16 years ago to the desert. And that time it was so hard to get some Thai food in this area. And I, like you, Richard, I, always pack lunch for Justin to school. He's the school teacher, and a bunch of teacher would see his lunch look really really good, and then that's what I was actually started to from take order from teachers and deliver lunch to the school. I totally understand how you feel about, like, they have a small gap of lunch break. That's what I did, and then also we here in the desert is so hot sometimes. So, cooking We try farmer market, we try brewery, we try different places. But then once we found MEHKO, I first started from just looking online, and then I found something about like get the license to cook from your home kind of thing. And that time it was like 2019. I have no idea what it was. I just want to know what's going on. I just dig deep. We went over to what I remember. We went over to the health department, sat down with them because I'm so like really want to start this thing. So and then November 2019 we started, but then once with the pandemic, and that just get us over like like probably like get like word of mouth since everything shut down, and that was get us to the point that we are running 6 years now. Yeah.
Great, thank you. It's so interesting hearing the story, and it's interesting how there's this running thread of the pandemic, and it makes sense because of like that timing, how that really coincided when this permit was new, and also, I mean, that really showed the demand for it. I mean, so many people started cooking from home, doing it informally, and it's great that like now like zooming out and looking back that like that was a dark time, but there's so many kind of wonderful things that came out of it, and I think one of those is like a lot of these really amazing small businesses. So that's interesting. So let's see, I also wanted to know, so we heard about how you started. How have you grown? So kind of like where, like this is where you started, and then where are you now? And like what was that journey like in between? And I think we can go ahead and keep this order if that's okay. And I'll start with you, Chef Kellie.
Oh gosh. Well, it's only been a year since I received the permit. And then I didn't really get started until I would say just about maybe 8 months now. So, I mean, just like starting any new business, there's going to be some learning curves. Luckily, I already had the product, but the whole dine-in, I mean, that's a different beast in a way. So I guess I could just say I'm definitely more confident, and I'm just trying to build my confidence and get my systems down, my operations, everything, right? And learning every single time I have guests dine, every single time.
That's great. Yeah, it is nice when even if something goes wrong, you can look back at it and be like, well, at least that was a
Absolutely.
lesson.
Absolutely.
That's great. Richard, go ahead. Kind
Oh,
of, I know
sure.
you're
Well,
similar. You're still kind of new as a MEHKO. So I know, so but there still should, but I'm still interested in that kind of journey of like starting from day one until now, and like how you feel like you've grown as a business.
sure. Well, when I first got the MEHKO was November 22nd when I first got the permit, but I didn't have the hard copy of my permit, so I couldn't get my business license because the city had already gone on a holiday vacation. So January 6th is when I actually got my business license to actually go out and start doing business legitimately. So yeah, so I mean, you know, people are not going to fall in your lap. Customers are not going to fall in your lap, and so it's hard work. You have to go out and pound the pavement, knock on doors, deal with rejection. But what's very rewarding is once you get past that gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper is that receptionist. If you can get past that person, you're almost a lock, because that's when I say, oh, let me bring you guys samples. This way you'll know, because I have a beautiful brochure, but you can't smell it, you can't taste the food, so let me bring you samples. So that's how I've grown the business. And so I have a pretty good diversity of customers. I have professional, I have salons, I have car dealerships, I have salespeople, fitness owners, wellness business owners. Being part of the Chamber of Commerce has been terrific, because it's introduced me to other people. And the chamber is really interesting because I mean, everybody still eats, right? I mean, I may not, we have a member that does air conditioning. Well, I'm not going to buy an air conditioning, you know, but if they sold food, I'd buy, I'd buy food. So I think I have a unique niche with what I do as far as in the chamber and providing food, because I'm always mentioned about, oh, we should have Richard, cater our board meetings, so stuff like that. And that's been really fun. So it's grown, but I'm not satisfied. I still go out and pound the pavement, every Monday before lunch, and I go to different businesses. And then I go back after I make a delivery. I'll go and see. Oh, I'm going to try that business. I'm going to go and see if they're interested in stuff. So it's never ending. I mean, you want to have as many clientele as possible, so that in case some people don't order, you can go to these other customers and say, hey, it's been a couple weeks, are you guys interested? And that's fun. So yeah, so you still have to work hard to try to increase your clientele. And I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied.
That's great. No, that's really helpful though, and that's impressive. Just like the cold calls, but just those kind of the sales pitch. That's I know that that's not easy for everybody. It takes a
Yeah.
certain personality. So yeah, kudos to you. I mean, that definitely is a lot to go out every week and do that. So cool. Well, thank you. Let's switch over then to Chef Ben's. And so now for you, this question actually makes a little more sense since it's been many years now. But I'm really curious to hear how your business has grown since it started.
Okay, so as I said earlier, that we actually start to pick it up. The very first when I got the permit, to be honest, I was screamed to myself many times that no one know anything about this. I don't think. Sometimes I ask myself so many questions, like, is that because of my food? I don't think so, and I even answer myself, I don't think so. But I just need something to, or the promotion or something to help me to get the word out. So what I remember, I try to either the very beginning, I was just not familiar with the system at all, like how to set up everything in my own kitchen in a small space. So once I kind of, what I remember one time I was like cooking something and then something spill and then I have to redo it again and that kind of thing. So now to year 6, everything start to just felt to the own way, or I kind of know how to organize. So what I'm saying, that's just like from the very beginning, that you just kind of doubt a lot of stuff, like you don't know what um to plan ahead, like what's going to happen, but then later on it just pretty much you will learn with the process. And what are we growing in from, like, do you have anything to just add for that, like?
Well, when we first got the permit, it was prior to all the restaurants closing in the area, and we were hitting the pavement like Richard and trying to drum up business anywhere and everywhere we could, spread the word, etc. But that next March, when everything closed,
Wow, yeah.
the opportunity of a lifetime was handed to us, and we went from relative unknowns to selling out 3 days worth of food in sometimes as little as like 5 minutes. My phone was constantly going off. I could not take care of the incoming orders quickly enough. People would triple book, quadruple book times. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so caught off guard. We were so stressed out, but we were selling a lot of food and very, very popular in our area. And I also got special permission from a local, what's that app called? Nextdoor. That Nextdoor app. Normally, I guess you have to have like a business account in order to advertise on there. But because of the pandemic and the fact that we were coming at it with food, they made special permission and they let us post on Nextdoor just like we were a normal neighbor looking for their lost dog or whatever. So I'm just putting posts up and word is just spreading like crazy. We had people driving from like as far as Palm Springs, like 40 minutes to come get food. And that's how we established our our regular clientele, which for the most part are all still with us today, if you can believe that.
6 years.
Almost like having a brick and mortar restaurant where you have your
Right.
regulars. We still have a bunch of those people. Others have moved away or come and gone, but we established a nice, solid foundation during that period. And that was sort of the origins of all of this, the beginning of it.
Yeah, in terms of growing of our own, like, small business that we have here, that's part of it too. Like, we word of mouth of, in the community, and then start to just spread it out, like, like Ben's and Justin selling some Thai food. This is, that's another thing that has helped us to grow a lot. And also, we were in we feature in LA Times, and that is just, it would even go even to the next level we cannot even imagine. But we grateful for that too, actually. Yeah.
But we were limited at that time. Riverside County only allowed us to sell, I think it was 60
60.
meals, 60 meals per week, I think it was. And
Yep.
we easily could have gone past that, but we couldn't legally. And we didn't want to mess around with these new like MEHKO laws and cause any problems. So we would cap it at 60. The demand was far greater than that, but she's the one doing almost all of the cooking. And there's only so much a person can do, especially in the hot months here in the desert when it's 120 out. And so we just had to like divide and conquer. And she does all the prepping, the shopping for the ingredients, the cooking. And then I bag up the food and add garnishes to it. And I run it out to the front of the house in the bags. And I have the little like 5-minute customer chat with all the customers. So I'm sort of like the face of the business in that respect, but obviously all the food and soul of the business comes from Ben's. But those 5-minute conversations, especially when people were really down and out and lonely during COVID, they really meant a lot to people because a lot of people were starved for any human interaction they could get. And so I think that's how we were able to establish such a strong foundation and really get loyalty from a lot of these customers, was because of the quality of her product. And then the little chats that I would have. I made a point of getting to know the people's names. I made a cheat sheet with everybody's name. I wrote their spouse's name next to it. If they had a dog or something, I would make a little note of the dog's name. And you become almost like an unofficial member of the family in some ways with that human part. If I could offer any suggestion to somebody getting into this, don't let your food do all the talking for you. Have a good food product, yes, but be sure to try to have that human element, that conversation piece when they pick up the food too, because most restaurants out there these days lack that. You're like, you feel like a number and not a human being.
Right.
Anyway, I'm on a soapbox, so I'll quit, but I just wanted to add my part in all of this.
Thank you.
No, that's great. I think that's all really beautiful, and it's again, there are so many different things you can do with the permit, but I think that like what you guys are describing with like on so many levels, like there isn't this good authentic Thai food, and like we're creating all of these community connections, and like and being part of involved in people's lives, even if it's not even if it's just that kind of small touch point, it's still like it's so meaningful to folks. So I just think that that's really gorgeous. It really is like kind of so much in the spirit of like why this program came to be. So I thank you for sharing all of that. The next question I have for all of you is really kind of similar. So I think we're just kind of going to like deep dive into this because the number one thing that comes up a lot with folks is like, how do I find customers, right? And I know with MEHKO's, it can be challenging because we know there are the regulations. So you're not, doing the booth at the farmer's market, and you're not, having a billboard outside your house, that's not on DoorDash, right? So there's a lot of creativity involved in that. So I'm really interested, and I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I'd love to kind of deep dive into this more on like the strategies that you've used, whether it's social media, word of mouth. I know it's a combination of all of those, but I just love to hear a little bit more about that kind of strategy for not just finding customers, but then also like keeping them when you have them. I think like Richard mentioned,
Mm,
going back and being like, hey, you guys haven't ordered in a while. So I'd love to hear more about that. And we'll start with you, Chef Kellie.
sure. Uh, Make sure I'm on. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, how are we going to get our customers? Um, I I started my businesses um, just doing social media. So I have actually I have 6 social media accounts. I don't even know how I do it, but 3 for my businesses. Um, it's challenging. It's challenging, and being able to make all those reels, keeping everyone's engagement, doing it consistently. Um, I have a newsletter that's supposed to go out monthly, but ever since I started my MEHKO, it's like, I don't know, people must think I'm on a long vacation or something. Um, and I built that newsletter up. I think that's, some people are missing, your stories or your posts on Instagram. It's hit or miss, right? It's hit or miss. You're looking at something on Facebook and it's like someone's birthday and it was a week ago, right? So you have to get them, in a different way. So there's newsletter, again, and then word of mouth. Something I learned from my business planning class is that you're supposed to talk about your business at least 3 times a day to new people. Well, I'm always out and about, and luckily it's easy to talk about food and pizza. So just doing that, and that's what I do. And like Richard, yeah, joining Chamber of Commerce or any other type of organizations in the community, schools, whatnot, and just to get the word out.
That's great. I'm impressed by how many social media accounts you have. Yeah, and also relate to not sending out that monthly newsletter. Um, Richard, so I know you actually gave us a lot on this, and I want you to even talk more because you have so much stuff to say. But one thing, if you don't mind, I'm kind of interested, like when you're talking about like the receptionist being that first barrier if you're going into a new business, I'd love to kind of hear like if you're going into a new business and like I'd love to hear kind of how you find them too. I mean, are you just sort of driving around? Is there a system? But when you walk in, I'd love like to almost role play. Like, how do you introduce yourself? Like, what's kind of the elevator pitch essentially for your business?
Sure. Sure. Well, a lot of times if I'm like, for example, a niche that I have are car dealers. And so I go to I say, okay, what are the high-end car dealers? And in Pasadena, they are all next to each other at the end of Colorado Boulevard. They're all the Rustneck car dealers, Rolls Royce, Benz, Porsche, Volvo, and Ineos. And so I go on their website and I look at all their staff, who's there, who's the receptionist, who's the parts manager, who's the sales manager. And so when I go in, I see the person, I recognize the person. I said, "Oh, hi, Margaret," or "Hi, Jonathan. My name is Richard, and I make food, And so I thought, I know your salespeople, they don't want to leave their desk because they could miss a possible customer. And so, and I know that you guys, park maybe a block away. So I deliver the food. So what I'd like to do is show you my brochure, and then if you're interested, I'd love to bring you samples, and that's where it goes. And who doesn't want free food? I said, look, I don't charge for the samples. They're good size. They're packed with flavor. And first of all, I tell them like this one here. This is tri-tip, basil pesto, fresh avocado, pickled jalapeno. I tell them, where are you going to get that? You're not going to get that anywhere, and I deliver it. And so when I tell them, then I start telling them about the MEHKO. I said, look, this is a brand new program. It's 5 years old, but it's brand new to LA County. I'm the first in the San Gabriel Valley to become a MEHKO. I have a license with the city of Monrovia. I'm insured and I deliver. All those things are given this person possible, confidence in what I am selling, but confidence in who they're going to potentially buy from. I'm not just somebody who just pops up an easy up on the corner. No, I'm legitimate. They can go to the health department. They can see my permit number. And I tell them, look, I have to go through this 8-hour course to get a manager's level food handler certificate. I have to follow a battery of checklists to get inspected and to be approved. So it's completely legitimate. But I love it when I say you don't have to, you don't have to you don't have to spend 15 minutes just driving to and from. I bring the food to you. So that works quite a bit. And I've always patted myself on the back because my customer service is second to none. So I'll go into a place and they'll place because these guys, all these people become my friends, right? And they say, okay, Rich, I'll take the chicken club, and I say, easy on the onions, right? They love hearing that. Or no tomatoes, right? Yeah, they love hearing that because it's that personal feel, just like Justin was talking about. It's that chatting with them, the interaction. And I'm not just selling food, I'm selling myself, and it's great when I go into these places and everyone, says, hey, Richard, what you got this week? Stuff like that. But it's still hard work. You still have to go out there and you still have to find that next client, because if you find that next client, then that'll lead to a couple other clients after that. And again, I love getting, again, like I mentioned earlier, getting past that gatekeeper, because that is an accomplishment. Because if that person's having a bad day, it doesn't matter what you say, you're not getting past them. And it's like, God, there's an opportunity there that I have to wait for somebody else. I have to wait for maybe that person's their day off and there's someone else, and I try back. But yeah, it's not. I mean, there's a lot of rejection, and that's okay. I'm a designer, so I'm thick-skinned. So as long as you can deal with some rejection, you'll get through it. But you just have to have the conviction and the willpower. You just keep doing it, and I'm not. I mean, I'm somewhat assertive, but I'm not annoying, right? And so I want to make sure that I'm approachable, and my brochure that I carry is nice and shiny, laminated. And I tell them, look, I make this myself. Look. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Again, it's hard work, but I think that personal touch helps quite a bit, because you're not just someone who's just buying food from you're like a friend. And so yeah, there's that.
That's great. Well, I'm convinced. I feel like I would definitely order from you. I mean, you say your customer service is unparalleled. I'm like, yeah, I totally believe that. But yeah, thank you. That is so helpful. And then they all talk to each other, right? So you get that word of mouth on top of it. That's really helpful.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Chef Benz and Justin, I know that you guys did give us a lot as well on this last question, but I'm just curious. I know you started with Nextdoor. Are you still using Nextdoor? Do you use any other social media? And then email. I know that some cooks, I know that Kellie mentioned that a little bit, is like kind of for all of like her umbrella of all of her different businesses. But I'm curious, like, do you do email for your menus, or anything else you want to share about those strategies? And then if you guys have your cheat sheet, if you handy,
Yeah, the cheat sheet.
I'd love if everyone could see it. But
I would definitely show that. Well, thank you. So that's for me, just like similar to Richard and Kellie as well. That what we do pretty much, like when you tell people just like, hey, I'm selling food from home, that's kind of like for them, that especially in my like 6 years ago, it was kind of brand new, and people just like pick up food from your house. I mean, seriously, like would you get, they kind of have the skeptical a little bit, that's the very first, when you just like but then we just try to let them know and educate them, hey, you know what, we get the permit, we have the way that when we have all the the inspector come over, we legit, let's say. So that's another thing. But just like everyone, so I just don't even remember how much food that I gave it away. That's a part of my like first beginning of strategy of building, customer base. Because food, basically you tell them, you explain them, you just have such a really good description, but then it's not the same as you give them a little taste. So I pretty much just let the food part of it speak for themselves too, by like, they will spread the word out from me. And that's part of it. And then also online, we use Facebook, Instagram, plus Nextdoor, like just what Justin said. And then we hit it every single week. Every time when we post the menu, like we post weekly, either or, we pretty much just hit with those social media platforms to just like almost every week until like they feel like they need to come back and look at every week. And we also set the date. We would tell them we would post the menu every Sunday. So something for them to look forward to. And also they know that Ben's going to post the menu on Sunday. So they would be there and ready to check on to see, to be able to just get more option on the menu, because I change menu every week. I pretty much rotate it every week. That's why I think the customer don't get bored of the food, because they get this one, but then they're not going to get it again the next 2 weeks. So by the next 2 weeks, that food come around, they would grab it before, other people. So that's another way that I look at it. And also I try to think of, when I build the menu, I want to build it as, courses, because you would have appetizers, entree, and dessert. And also I have Thai iced tea, which is go with the food. That's kind of cover all the dinner. And we offer during like, pretty much like dinner time. So we want to just have them order all the courses. So basically they have appetizer, entree, and then dessert. So they don't need to go to, through the restaurant. That's a part of, I think, for me too, that kind of strategy for us to like build the customer base. And then also, like Justin said, that we not just go and hand you the food, like hand them the food. We just like, have a talk, like we talk to them and we kind of touch base with their life, and just be like human, or like neighbor, that neighbor come pick up your food. So you want to know what's going on across the street, so that's another like thing that we always do that, and make sure that they feel like they're not just come and pick up from the restaurant, here your food, let's go, so that's one thing that I think that is a lot of stuff that what we do is one pretty good important too.
If I can just interrupt real quick, I think there's something went wrong with the audio a little bit. We can hear you, but there's some weird feedback. I don't know, maybe if like a mic got bumped or something, or isn't plugged in all the way. Again, we can hear you.
Yeah, no changes on our end. Maybe everybody else can turn their mic off, just so there's no interference in that respect. And see if does that help at all? Because nothing with the Chromebook has changed at all.
Okay. Yeah, it's we can hear you though. So I think, and it sounds like right now it just stopped. So I think we're good. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
A friend of mine here in the Valley owns a carpet and tile cleaning business, and he's quite successful. And early on in our MEHKO, he said, whatever you do, do not pay to advertise. Don't do it. And that never made sense to me, because I thought, wait a minute, if I pay to advertise on Facebook, whatever, it's going to get us so much more reach, and we're going to get into all kinds of markets, blah, blah, blah. And I went against what he said, because I just had to know for myself. And so we started paying for some ads, and it netted us exactly nothing. So highly recommend, don't waste money on advertising. Word of mouth and the quality of your food are your two best advertisements and strategies. That cheat sheet I was talking about, I'm not proud of it. It's literally the same one that I've been using for 5 years, but it looks like this. I do not recommend you try to decipher any of it, but those are all customers' names, their spouses, in some cases, like their daughter who was visiting from college or whatever. And it's in a little sleeve protector. And I just would, I would introduce myself at the first pickup, run inside before I forgot, grab a pen and just add it. And I got fancy and I put it into a spreadsheet at the beginning, right in this area. And then, yeah, that kind of just went by the wayside and the Sharpie was easier. So that's why it looks absolutely horrendous. But I use this thing. I've used that thing solid regularly for 5 years. And then here's the magic to it. The next time they show up on pickup number 2, I know their name. And what Richard was saying about the human part and knowing their name, I cannot emphasize enough. Second only to your food tasting good and being consistent is going to be the human interaction portion of all of this. And then the other spreadsheet's boring. This one is just all the condiments that go with the different entrees, because she offers over like 30 rotating items, and I'm already full-time employed in a career, and the last thing I need to do is mess up and put soy sauce with something that shouldn't have soy sauce, because guess what? I'll never hear the end of it. You gave them a soy sauce? Anyway, those are the two little cheat sheets, and don't pay to advertise. Word of mouth, getting people to talk to their friends. Let your food quality do the talking. Set up those relationships. And we use her Cooking Time by Ben's Facebook account every week. We use her personal Facebook every week. We use my personal Facebook. And we put pictures of the food, close-up pictures with good lighting. You don't want it to look like it was in a half-lit basement or something. You want those colors to really pop. And then we also use Nextdoor, and we're basically just going to beg for forgiveness rather than ask permission. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying that, but if I do, I don't actually care. But yeah, we just started using it again, even well after all that pandemic stuff passed. We started going for it because we noticed the new customers that we get to this day, 9 out of 10 of them come from Nextdoor.
Yeah, that's great. And just to clarify for everyone, in case anyone's confused, so I mean, with the MEHKO regulations, you can do everything on social media. It was just Nextdoor was like, they kind of changed their mind? Is that right? At some point?
Yeah, at some point,
They
the
changed their mind.
administrator said that corporate had contacted him, and I was like, "Oh, corporate, really?" And they said, "Hey, that Ben's cooking person, cut him off, make him pay for advertising." And so, and it's funny because even the administrator used to order food from us all the time. And he said, "I'm really sorry, guys, but you'll have to pay to advertise and blah blah blah." We're like, "No problem, it's okay. We're appreciative for how long you let us use this platform. It brought us so many customers." And so we let some time pass and we allowed them to forget about us. And then she started, without me even knowing, she started shooting ads up on Nextdoor.
again,
And I'm like, "Oh, look at another new customer. I wonder where they came from." And I asked him out at the car, "How did you hear about us?" "Oh, we saw you on Nextdoor." So I knew that she was up to no good again.
That's so awesome. I love that. All right. Thank you guys. And the cheat sheet, especially the customer one, is epic and I love it. So thank you for that show and tell. All right. So this is all a really amazing advice. I'm curious, every business has their challenges. And so I'd love to know kind of, what comes to mind as, the biggest challenge you've had so far, and then how did you overcome that? How did you address it? And, we'll go in the order, and Chef Kellie, start with you.
The biggest challenge for me, especially as a dine-in spot, because I was doing the delivery and pick up, no problem. Dine-in spot is to feel safe having people come on my property. I mean, if you're not thinking about that in the state of California,
Mm-hmm.
So doing your due diligence, and making sure I have all the insurances. I mean, I have like 2 commercial insurance policies. Everyone that comes on my property signs a hold harmless agreement. Um, I have rules for kids and their parents. So yeah, when you're doing something new, like Ben mentioned, this is what I'm doing here is unprecedented. So it's not a restaurant like we know it. And so people are like, what? Why do I have to sign this and that and this and that? I mean, it's my home. And now I received my beer and wine license, and I
Wow.
have 8,000 gallons koi fish pond. So it's like, okay, I had someone come in here and do a risk analysis.
Interesting.
One of my customers, who is a retired home insurance auditor, and she walked, the area. It's a very large backyard. It's like a park. And so she's like, do this, do that, make paths, So I'm reaching out using all my resources, because I'm in the beginning, I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm not feeling confident. And so finally, when we're talking about all this, I'm like, I mean, it's been 8 months, going on 9 months. Yeah, I'm feeling much more confident. Yep, I have everything in place. Feeling good. Feeling good. And it's hard doing something when you're the first, right? Because you don't have anyone to go to.
Yeah.
But y'all can come to me.
I can
Happy to share.
understand. I
Happy to
can
share.
understand your apprehension, like particularly like that koi pond really jumps out to be
I
like, what
mean,
if someone falls in the koi
koi pond or not,
That would
koi
haunt
pond or
me
not,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody can trip or fall. I mean, throughout the whole dining experience, when they're walking around, I'm like, watch your step, watch your step. There's signage everywhere. There's safety strips on the stairs and decks. There's lighting everywhere. So
Yeah,
that
it's
was
a good reminder to folks that it's like if you're doing dine-in like that, it's like there are a lot of things to consider. So that's interesting.
absolutely.
We're also going to be very interested to follow up later, probably about the ABC license, because I think you
Sure.
might be the first MEHKO that's actually done that, to our knowledge. So we'll definitely be following up to pick your
Awesome.
brain about that and how that's all
Happy to
going.
help.
So interesting. All right. Well, what about you, Richard? Any challenges so far? Oh, I think I just, sorry. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So my menu is it's not it's not big. I have maybe 10 flavors I do. And so the challenging part is to be creative because I do what's called the wrap of the week. And so I'm going to select one, maybe 2 flavors and do it for the whole week. And the main reason I do that is to control what I buy so I don't have, waste. I don't have leftover. So I'm letting my customers know these are the flavors I'm making. And so on every Sunday, I update my Instagram with what the wrap of the week is going to be. And in fact, I sent you several pictures. So I try to be creative with what that looks like, because if I'm going to do tri-tip, okay, how am I going to advertise tri-tip? Well, I like to have a little fun. So one of them would be, pictures of cows and the word tri-tip and an arrow pointing. This is where the tri-tip is. This is where the tri-tip is. On the cow, or if it's a chicken flavor, I have some graphics of cartoon type chickens and saying what came first, the chicken salad or the spicy Louisiana chicken, stuff like that. So trying to be creative with and giving some nice visuals of what my food is going to be, because again I have about 10 flavors and I do rotate them, like Ben's does. And so, but so you showed Italian, I'm going to show with an Italian coast background, or the next time I'm going to have, the Sopranos, in the background with, with the Italian flavor. So doing stuff like that. And that's, I mean, I'm a designer, so I'm a very creative person, but it's still, I need to be able to capture people's attention and still have them, be engaged in my food. And so, and, I do post on about 30 different Facebook groups throughout Monrovia, throughout the entire San Gabriel Valley. And so I get some responses from that. I do not pay for advertising. So I agree with you, Justin, on that. But the chamber has been a magnificent element of my business, because when we have lunch events or when we have coffee socials, we all put our business cards in a hat, because somebody is always giving away something, whether it's a gift card or whatever. I give away wrap meals. And so I'll tell my director of our chamber, I say, look, for this one, we're going to do 2 gift certificates, and I'll email her the certificates so she can print them out. And so, okay, guys, it's time for giveaways. So, I'll go up there, and every time I'm giving away a meal, I get to talk for like a minute and a half. So I'm promoting what I do, and I let them know the intricacies of what it is. And, definitely MEHKO comes out. Hey, Richard, what's MEHKO? Well, MEHKO is Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operation. Thanks for asking, And so I'm able to do that. And, because I know what every wrap costs, I know, okay, so this, even though I'm giving away a wrap meal, it cost me $3.10. So I don't look at it as I'm giving away these certificates, but I know it's excellent advertising, and then once they eat my food, then it's organic. It goes from there. But so I use these events, and in fact, I just did a huge event about 3 weeks ago. It was a multi-chamber mixer from the city of Laverne, and they invited 13 different chambers. Well, I use that as the opportunity to provide food for everybody. So I didn't charge them. I made a ton of my wraps, and I made some great connections. The owner of the place that hosted the event, they said, Richard, we are so appreciative that you did this. We're going to pay you next time. In fact, we're going to order food for the crew. We're going to order food for our sales meeting. And, so to me, it paid off. Or it's gonna pay off. And so so I think I got COVID after that event, because I was down for 2 weeks, but still, to me, it was worth it. But so that's kind of what how I've been overcoming some of these challenges. But the creative part, because again, I don't have a big menu, and so when I do the wrap of the week that I post on Instagram and I post on all of these Facebook groups, I think I need to get their attention, and I think they work. I really do. So, but that's what I do.
I'm gonna try, if everyone will indulge me, I want to just try to see if I can share my screen real quick, because I love the tri-tip one so much. Let's see here. Can we see this? There we go. Can everybody see that? With the wrap of the week, and I just like the arrow with that's where the tri-tip goes. All right.
Yeah. Every cow has 2 tri-tips.
Oh, see, I did not know that. Fun facts. That's also something you could start including in your wraps of the week.
On
That's
the right,
wonderful. Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. Thank you, Richard. This is, again, really, really great stuff. Ben, Justin, what about you two? What have we dealt with in terms of challenges?
For our biggest challenge, since the time that we start doing MEHKO, because is the price of the grocery. And that was one thing that is just never end, because what I know, like, I cannot charge. This is the thing, when I look at the menu, or sometime when I go to the market, this you will see the price, and especially now with cooking Thai food, the ingredients is like, like from like import from Thailand, or some of the stuff that you need to use. And I cannot, go just normal market that they might have it, but not the same brand, same sauce, or same thing that I use to keep that flavor to go. So I pretty much just, like go shop specifically like Asian market or Thai market and stuff like that, which is now with the tariff tax, it's 19%. So I'm afraid right now I'm kind of negotiate a little bit with the market. That's a part of it. Like, if I order more, can you give me, because you run MEHKO, you not run the whole like a restaurant that you can actually buy bulk, like some stuff that you cannot, like, some people, you go to, the restaurant will give a really good price, but for us, or for me, I buy a little here and a little there, so the price is not going to be as great. So one thing, that's the price that is, the rising up of the price of all the groceries and stuff, that is just sometimes is really challenge me, because I have to find, like, cooking for a week, but I go 5 different markets to just find the product is the good as, the best price that I can afford it. Because when I set up the price on my meal, I cannot set it as high, because mentally people will think, well, you cooking from your house, the price is not going to be over the restaurant because your overhead is smaller. Why? But then what I kind of learned is, even though the price go whatever, how much we pay as the cook, but the customer pretty much kind of like the way you set the price from the beginning. And once you like, okay, well, the grocery is up, which everybody know the grocery is up, but once you add a little dollar or two, your sales drop. So that's one of the challenge for me, to try to control, pretty much almost the same portion if I can, or I just pretty much like add a dollar or two, and then just kind of give them, or not even order, I mean, not even offer at all. If that price, let's say the beef is so high, I'm not even offered that week. I'm just trying to scale down my menu to go with something that is weekly ad offer, like when the market or grocery store, they have those weekly ad. You just check it. I check that every week to see what in like special, and that what I take advantage of it. Like, okay, well, the beef or the chuck or something that is on sales, I will go for that, and I make something from it. Because otherwise, the price is going to be too much, and we want, even though you do something that you love so much, but then the end of the day, you want to make something, want to make some money too, right? And then that's pretty much just one of my challenge. And then how I overcome it, just, whatever they offer at the market is cheaper. We have the advantage of be able to buy something according to your menu set. You're not like a restaurant that you have a set menu every week, every time, and when a customer come. So that's why I rotate every week. That helps a lot with the price, to keep the grocery price down, even though at this time is so high right now. That's how I managed it, and then help with that. And I'm still deal with that challenge every week though.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that a lot of people are feeling right now for sure.
Yeah.
So that's
Mhm.
certainly relatable. Thank you, everybody. Those are really great answers, really good advice. I think last question, and then we'll kind of turn it over to a couple audience questions. Although we did get, I think, you guys have covered so much. So a lot of the questions that folks asked have been answered. But I just wanted to know, just kind of a fun one. Are there any do you have like a memorable moment with a customer that stands out to you that you would be willing to share?
Absolutely. And this just happened on last Friday. So I find that my guests that are coming for dine-in, mostly it's like a special occasion. So they're coming in for birthdays or friends reunion or something like that. There's definitely a reason for them to come to, and I'm calling, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm calling it the Patio Oasis, at Chicks Patio Oasis on Instagram. So I ask the host, whoever's bringing their guests, if they want to surprise their guests. And a lot of them take me up on that. And so this husband is wanting to come to the Patio Oasis to celebrate his 10-year anniversary. And he definitely wants it to be a surprise. So I have a surprise greeting where there's a side gate and they have I have a little speakeasy style greeting, and there's a little, my wife cut a little, a square hole in the gate, and it's just like a speakeasy, boom, a little door, and it has bars on it. And so they ring the gate doorbell, and I open the door, and I'm serious. You just see my eyes, and it's just like, do you know where you are? Because they don't know where they are. They're like going to someone's house. They're on my driveway, and they're always like, whose house is there? Whose house is this, honey? And I said, do you know where you are? And she's like, I don't think so. And then she's looking at him, and he's keeping silence. And then I asked, password? And she's like, do we have a password? And, they just make something up. And he said, anniversary. And I say, one moment, please. And I close the little hatch. And then I open the gate and like, hey. And I know the name in advance already because they fill out a guest reservation form. So I know the occasion, any food allergies. And I said, Violet, I believe it's your 10-year anniversary. And she's like, who are you? What is this? And she started crying. And that just got me. She cried for a little while, and she's just looking at him like he is the big hero. And it was just, and I just felt so much that night. I mean, it was just the two of them, and just so much love. And it was really, it's nice to serve a couple like that. And you feel, I'm really sensitive to energies. You feel that love. It was a magical evening for them and for me. And quite memorable.
That is such a fun idea. I love it. That is so cute. Oh, thank you. Richard, what about you? That's a hard one to follow. Any memorable moments with a customer?
Well, one has stuck with me more than anything else, and it is I was delivering food for the first time to one of the car dealerships, and as I'm delivering food to one person, he opens it up, and I'm over here about maybe 10 feet away delivering food to one of his coworkers, and all of a sudden I hear a, God damn, this is good, and to hear that from a grown man, it just meant the world to me, because I thought, okay, this, I got it, and to hear that from a grown man, it made my day.
That's awesome.
Because it's just food. Again, like I said, I'm no chef. I just make wraps. But to hear somebody have that type of it wasn't planned, right? It's something that just happened, just organically. And to hear that, I had the biggest smile on my face, and and I said, hey, I'm going to sleep well tonight because of that. And really, that's the truth. I mean, getting feedback is so important. And it's, I tell people, feedback is so important, and I don't hear from them for like 3 days, and then I go back and I see them. So what'd you guys think? Oh, it was great. I said, well, yeah, I didn't sleep for the past 3 days because you didn't tell me. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that moment where that grown man made that grunt and that comment, that just meant the world to me. Seriously.
That's what it's all about. That's awesome. All right, Justin, what about you two?
For us, because we made to order food, so I only have like 15 minutes of making food. So every minute count, right? Because first, we don't want to have the traffic jam right in front of our house for like, customer waiting for the food. So I was super busy and Justin was, he was busy. So at that time we had, well, actually this is a two events, two customers. One, she's my catering customer that follow, she knows, of course, like, I tell her, oh yeah, I sell food weekly too, da, 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 so she would come over, pick up the food every time they are snowbirds. So they, once they, it got in town, they will definitely order from Ben's if they don't have a big party. So we as a Californian, so we were like, oh my God, well, she lived in north somewhere like in
One of
back
the
in the back,
Midwestern
yeah,
states.
Midwestern. And we're like, oh my God, they're so sweet, they're so charm, like she's super cute. So every time when she come, we usually we will tell them just like wait in a car and we will bring the food out to you, and Justin gonna run over to you, give the food and all that. She never ever wait in a car. She always come in, sometimes she come with her two little dogs to just wait to like, or she just left her husband with two dogs in a car and she have to come and pick up food right in my door. So, but one time I got super busy because I was in a, like in the cooking in the kitchen, and she just ring the bell. Justin opened the door. She walked just right in and come over and see where's Ben's, and I was like right here. I said I'm right here. So she was just, like we kind of get to kick out a little like, oh my God, she's just coming in, like, she welcomed herself, and that's great. We don't want to make her feel like awkward stand right there, but that's kind of like for me a little surprise in the kitchen. And also we have another guest who he's a actor.
He was on like a lead role of a soap opera in the 80s called Knots Landing.
So he lived here in the valley, and his wife order, and I have no idea, of course, like I don't watch soap opera or anything. I'm busy in the kitchen all the time. So
Yeah.
anyway, so he walked right in again. Just want to come and check out my kitchen.
The same way.
The same exactly way. And my kitchen during the time of 15 minutes, like I definitely admire you, Kelly. I just like my kitchen is super like, oh my God. As you see, like I have a big countertop here. Never be enough. All the stuff spread it over. And then they walked in and I was like, oh my God. And, he was like, Benz, how are you doing? And then they order a lot of food because they have a party or something. So he came over, pick up his own food and, say hi. And I was just like,
well, don't leave out the part. His purpose for coming in is because he wanted to give her a hug. So he came in and just like kind of bear hugged her. It was really very endearing and sweet.
yeah.
And he came into the kitchen, but both of those people, independent of one another, just did this kind of unofficial barge in, but not in an aggressive way, like more in like a curious or a loving way. And going back to the lady that she was talking about, she's from one of those Midwestern M states. I contacted later that evening a friend of mine that's from Michigan, and I said, hey, is that normal for people in the Midwest to just come into your house? And my friend responded back, and she's like, no, that was just her. So we were dying of laughter that no, that's that whole stereotype of people not locking their doors and all this stuff. That was so like 50 years ago. And she just barged in, but all of it came from a good place, and it was all very sweet. So I think those are our stories.
That's awesome. I think that really speaks to like what you said earlier of like how much you guys have that community and you really build that like trust and respect and that love with people, and it like overflows into your kitchen counter. That's so good. I love it. So pivoting real quick, and again, we're kind of getting close to time. So a lot of the questions that we got were stuff that people went over. We also got a lot of questions that were about like how to start a MEHKO or like what the regulations are. So just to clarify, We will regularly have MEHKO 101 webinars. We don't have one scheduled just yet, but we will. So keep an eye again on our stuff when we have another week MEHKO 101 webinar. That's kind of hard to say. That goes over all of the basics. In the meantime, we have a really robust FAQ on our website, and that is in English and in Spanish. If you have any questions too, you can reach out to hello@cookalliance.org. And we also always recommend going to your county's health department. Most of those web pages have a lot of information, and it's also good to just pick up the phone and talk to someone at the health department about the steps for getting a permit. So just wanted to put that out there. A lot of great questions, but we will have another MEHKO 101 webinar soon. Now, one of the things that came up in a few different questions was about insurance. So this isn't something now that like everybody has to answer, but just if anybody, just throwing that out there for anyone that has any advice on insurance for MEHKOs.
I do.
Go ahead, Richard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have what's called a flip. So it's food liability insurance plan. And so I just felt it necessary to do that because it kind of protects us. If, you know, I'm a sole proprietor, I'm not an LLC. So the flip covers a lot. And so I would definitely recommend it. Because I don't know if most homeowners insurances cover what we do, but I just felt it was important enough to get it, and it's $26 a month, and so it's definitely doable for most. But yeah, I think when people hear that, I think that boosts their confidence as well in who they're going to be doing business with. So that I felt it was important enough to do.
Great. Any other thoughts on insurance?
I have Next, and I'm currently shopping around for another policy because even the insurance policies have gone up as well. And then I upped the umbrella on my homeowner's policy.
That's helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I know that can be a little challenge. Ben's, do you want to?
Let me try. Thumbnails that's another insurance that we have since the very beginning. That's one of our friends actually recommended, and it's like $30, and you get it on like an app online, which is really easy to set up. And it's easy to change too because they have the app right in your phone, so you basically can actually change the policy if you want to upgrade it or downgrade it, those kind of thing. Like for me, I do catering too, and also with this is cover both. And then I can add if you would hire somebody to help you with the business or with MEHKO, it cover that person as well. So in case that like you would have the, let's say, employee, because now I believe that the new permit allowed to have one employee or staff that is not related, like like a family, right? Because from the beginning for both of us is they don't allow at all, just someone in your family that you can have as your like staff or work together in one umbrella and one permit. So yeah, so Maya's like thumbnails or something like that.
Maybe thimble?
Oh, thimble. Maybe
Thimble?
thimble.
Cool.
Thimble. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
of
tried to
course.
find that. Yeah, I don't know where.
Somebody in the chat, I think, requested a link to one of the insurance companies, or maybe all three that we've talked about. Can you find like thimble.com or something like that and let me know what it is? And I'll put it in the chat. Our favorite part about the insurance is that we haven't needed it yet.
That's great.
Put that here. The thimble.
Awesome. And then folks can also
Welcome.
email us community, either like hello, like I mentioned before, or community@cookalliance.org. But yeah, thank you guys. That's awesome. Moving into our final question. I just kind of know that like this is almost silly when you've given us this mountain of advice, but I kind of want to just like let's just try to distill it in that like if you were to give kind of like one piece of advice for someone who was thinking about starting a MEHKO, what would you tell them? And we'll go in that original order. So Chef Kellie, if you want to go first.
One piece of advice? That's tough, Lauren.
Okay, it can be like two if you
I
want.
know I can't. There's just so much. My brain is just like it's. Yeah. I think you have to do your due diligence and research and ensure that you have a quality product that will be able to sell, that people will want. And get your guinea pigs of whoever tasting it and get their honest feedback, you know. And it's not just your family that's forced to eat it. It's just, you know, all walks of life. Get them to taste it and see really if you have that product, because if you can't sell that product, it's going to be hard. Period. Right. I mean, Richard started and he knew that people loved his product, and that's where he got his idea. Like, I can take this further, right? And I had already been selling my pizzas for over a decade, so I knew that would work. And now with the MEHKO, I've added on more items, but I think it's the product, and then there's so much more, you know, to figure out how to make the product, you know, and how all your systems, basically.
I like that though. That's good real talk. Like get the honest feedback. Like where are you going to find the people that can really give you the honest feedback? I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's good. Richard, what about you? If you were going to just break it down, one piece of
Well,
advice,
you know,
two pieces of advice.
okay, I'll try to stick with one, but I think I have to go to two. You have to have passion for what you do, because if you don't, then you're not gonna have the motivation to do all the other stuff. Because my next thing is you have to be efficient, because this is a business. So you know you have to know all your numbers. You have to know, as Ben's was saying, you know, the ingredients. Yeah, I'd go to like 8 different places to get product. My most expensive protein is tri-tip, and so I've got to, you know, I have a great source now where their price is going to be constant. But yeah, you have to have a passion, because the passion will help you with the other parts of the business. But and people know when you approach somebody, they're going to know, you know, whether you're BSing them or not. So you have passion that will help you have the motivation to do all the other hard work, because it's also hard work too.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have passion pounding the pavement, like for sure. That's really good advice.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that. And we'll
Thank
move
you.
over to Ben's and Justin. And I did real quick, just before we get into that question, I did see in the chat, there was a question because you had mentioned catering before. And just because this is always such a thing that comes up with MEHKOs, and I know we weren't going to get into the regulations, I just wanted to clarify for everyone, you can do catering if it's a separate business. You can't do it with your MEHKO permit. But there are definitely MEHKOs like Ben's that they, you know, have their catering gigs, they have their commercial kitchen they use for that, and it's separate, and that's okay. But just wanted to answer that real quick for the chat that you can't use the permit to do catering. But
Yeah.
with that aside, so what Ben's and Jessica, what's the advice? What's the basic advice?
Well, like, you know, like 2 other chefs too. I probably cannot break it just one, but what I want to say, just use their advice. And for me, the advice for MEHKO cooks, that would be care. You just have to care every single factor that you are going to do. Like, of course, you have passion. The food has to be good quality, and that's what it start from. And then also if you care, so that means you care for, like, you put your care to every single factor that you do and run this business, and it will shine and it will show. I'm not talking about just, like, in term of get the product to your customer, but I'm talking about you have to think of where we are. We located in a neighborhood. We have to care to your neighbor. You have to look out for them too. Like I said, like, you have to respect them when you get, when you start to have customer pick up your food or come to stay or dining at your, your house, no matter what. But I mean, it's in the neighborhood. So if they have a traffic jam right in front of their house, they're probably not going to be happy about it. So you probably want to, kind of care on that too. Um, and then also, like we run the business from the kitchen, from home. But at the end of the day, this is our home. So once you do all the business done, you have to kind of convert it back to your home again, so that's another thing. And then also for MEHKO that is just, want to start, and then you have your hopes really, I understand, because I have same dream, and I always dream to see like people would eat my food, enjoy my food, love my food. But then for the MEHKO, you just have to get a hang of it, like basically you just start small. Don't just go overboard with, like, spend some money, buy all the ingredients that you think I'm going to make everything, because I know when you get so excited, you do what you love, you want to spread it out so quick and so fast. But start small first. At least you would be able to test the market. You would be able to let that food just shine and let the food talk for you, and then your business is going to pick up day after day. Just, keep going and doing that. And that, for us, that's what, I always think back to the first day that I always scream to myself, like, why no one order my food? Why is it my food, or is because of what, so once you already have the license, I get it. Like, you guys spend some insurance money, you spend some like permit money, you spend at least $1,000, and you want to make those money back. And then on top of that, ingredients. So those are already the money that you already have to like spend them, like mandatory basically to get the permit. But don't spend just the ingredient out there that just you're not going to get business fast enough. So just start small, let that, build, and then you have a solid foundation. By then you would have a rock solid business, and you would success too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you again. I mean, this has been such an amazing conversation. I have learned a lot. I don't have a MEHKO, but I have learned a lot from all of you. And I think that this has just been a tremendous benefit to our community. So, you all are just volunteering your time, and I really appreciate that. We posted in the chat everyone's social media. Please be sure to, follow everyone's social. You can get on there and look at Kellie's Pizza Patio. Our website is there. Make sure again to follow us for those resources, sign up for the newsletter so that you're, hearing about our next webinars, checking out that FAQ. And then again, we're always available. If you want to email us, we have hello@cookalliance.org, community@cookalliance.org. Please reach out. And so I just want to say thank you again, everyone. You all are incredible success stories, and we're so proud to have you as part of this community.
My pleasure.
Wonderful.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. You all have a great night. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
So nice to meet you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.